So you know exactly what it's like to be targeted and smeared by Democratic operatives pretending to be journalists. So do you think Judge Amy Coney Barrett will get the Kavanaugh treatment? And do you have any advice for her and her family to deal with the tough weeks ahead?
You know, it's so interesting. I had the privilege to be at the White House on Saturday when the president nominated Amy Coney Barrett for this very, very important position. And you can listen to the most liberal attorney or the most conservative, and they all agree on one thing. She is one of the greatest legal minds of our generation. Whether you look at her credentials when she was in law school, when she was clerking for Antonin Scalia, or her time on the bench, she is clearly qualified for this. But what we've seen in her last confirmation hearing was the left's attack of her religion, of the fact that she's a working mom, that she has 7 children, that she's going to have a difficult time maintaining a work life balance. This is something that we should be jeering. This is something we should be celebrating. The first female on the court potentially to have school age children, and they use it as a cudgel against her. This is outrageous. And let me just remind the viewers tonight that the Sixth Amendment to the Constitution precludes any type of litmus test based on your religion. The very same litmus test that Dianne Feinstein attempted to give her in her last confirmation hearing. As a practicing Catholic, I am appalled that they're saying to us that her religion is the reason that she may not be confirmed. To me, it's the most disgusting thing. It should never be allowed. I look forward to a quick and decisive vote on her, and I believe she'll be seated before Election Day.
When it comes to that litmus test, we saw House Speaker Nancy Pelosi last week when she was asked by journalist reporters. She didn't want to answer that one. And yet she's the one who claims that she's Miss Catholic. What do you make of that?
Well, yeah, it's the hypocrisy of the left. Remember, look, hey, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a practicing and proud Jew, and there's nothing wrong with that. And her religion weighed on her decisions every day, as did her judicial philosophy, and that's perfectly fine. But for the double standard that Amy Coney Barrett is now a practicing Catholic who graduated from Notre Dame Law School, the very school that was supposed to be holding the presidential debate tomorrow night, but it didn't happen there because of the COVID-19 world. Look, I think the Republicans, I know they do. They have enough votes to get her through. Lindsey Graham said we're going to start the confirmations hearings immediately. The judge is up on the Hill tomorrow to meet with the members of the committee, and we're going to see a swift confirmation. And the reason is this election could become very contested, and we need to have a full complement of the court seated should this need to be sent there.
So we're also seeing Democrat Senators Richard Blumenthal, Mazie Hirono, they're saying that they won't even give her a chance. They don't want to meet with Amy Coney Barrett, the judge. We also see House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, again last week, she was threatening to use impeachment to try and slow down this whole ordeal, the upcoming hearings. Do you think Democrats really have any legal means to slow or stop this? You're saying, as you mentioned earlier, Republicans do have the votes as it stands.
They have no means to do it, but they're obviously going to politicize this. We've seen a massive politicalization of the judicial court process now under President Trump, not because of their jurisprudence, not because of court rulings, and not because of their education background, but simply because President Donald Trump nominated them. We saw it with Gorsuch. We saw it to a much greater extent with Kavanaugh. And the truth is, Senator Blumenthal and these others, they're paid by the taxpayers. Their job is to provide advice and consent on the president's nominees. It doesn't mean they have to support them, but they have to do their job right up until Election Day and after Election Day. They don't get to call it 5 weeks before the election and just say, I don't feel like working anymore. If that's the case, then give the money back to the taxpayers and quit your job.